Dr. Osansky, thank you so much for joining me today on Dr. Osborne's Zone.
Dr. Osborne, thank you so much for having me. Really excited to have this conversation.
Yeah, I'd love to start the conversation by just, you may be spelling out or talking about your history. I know you've had your own personal experience and trials and tribulations with your own thyroid. Could you tell us a little bit about how that happened?
Yeah, hard to believe it was 2008 when I was initially diagnosed with hyperthyroidism, and prior to that, I was just practicing just regular chiropractic, just had a very basic knowledge of thyroid health and really not a lot of knowledge with Graves, but I was trying to diet and detoxify, I was 182, my normal weight is like 165, 170. And so I was trying to shed a few pounds uh, and I was successful. Little did I know some of it was related to the hyperthyroidism, but um, I ended up dropping to 140 at one point. But I didn't know really, I didn't put the pieces together until one day I was walking around a retail store and they had one of those automated blood pressure machines. And I took my blood pressure, which was fine, but my resting heart rate was 90 beats per minute. And so I was thinking, well, maybe it's just because I'm walking around and that's increasing the heart rate. But the next few days I measured it on my own and it was anywhere between 90 and 110 beats per minute. And then I realized something was wrong, and that explained losing more weight than I intended, and went to see a primary care doctor. At that point, he just ran some basic tests, a TSH, a T4, and the TSH was depressed, the T4 was elevated, so he diagnosed me with hyperthyroidism, recommended a beta blocker, which I decided not to take, and we could talk more about that because there is a time and place for the medication, but. Then I saw an endocrinologist, got the official diagnosis of Graves, and as a chiropractor, like there's a lot of different options when it comes to continuing education credits, but I always took nutrition and functional medicine classes, and there were a few functional endocrinology seminars, and they focused, of course, more on Hashimoto's than on hyperthyroidism, but they did talk a little bit about hyperthyroidism and Graves, and that's when I realized that there were solutions. And this was prior to my Graves diagnosis. I didn't know that. Honestly, at the time, I didn't know I would need it for myself, but after I was diagnosed, I looked back and I remembered because it wasn't that long ago that I attended the seminars, thankfully. And so I figured I had nothing to lose by at least trying to address the cause of the problem. And there were some natural options other than the antithyroid medication, which is typically methimazole here in the United States. They were successful, and I'm grateful that I was able to improve my health, get my antibodies back to a normal level, of course, the thyroid hormones as well. And again, that was in 2008 when I was diagnosed into 2009. And since then, I've been working with others with hyperthyroidism, Hashimoto's, more so hyperthyroidism, Graves' disease due to my background.
So let me back up just a minute. So you had lost, you were 180, you said 182, and you went down to 140.
Yeah.
Um, Common symptom of Graves, weight loss. Is that something somebody should look out for?
It is. I mean, not everybody. It's funny. There are some people who, for whatever reason, don't lose weight, but it is one of the classic symptoms. And not everybody who loses weight, it's not always as extreme as mine. They might lose 10, 15, 20 pounds, which is still a decent amount of weight. But yeah, if someone is experiencing unexplained weight loss, that could be a potential symptom of Graves.
And then you also mentioned your heart rate, your heart rate, your beats per minute was definitely elevated. Were you feeling your chest beating hard? Like, were you getting palpitations or having like hot flashes or any other kinds of symptoms that, led you kind of down that road of getting that diagnosis?
Eventually, it's funny. Once I got the diagnosis, I noticed the palpitations at night. Not really hot flashes. Some people do have the hot flashes, heat intolerance. So with me, it was mainly the weight loss and increased appetite, but I attributed those symptoms to the dieting, detoxifying. And then the heart rate, I just didn't measure my heart rate, so I'm sure it was high during that before I measured it. Who knows how long it was high for? But yeah, once I got that diagnosis, I did notice at night I started noticing heart palpitations, which is also a common symptom.
And what you mentioned your TSH being low, and you mentioned your T4 being high. Um, Obviously, two critical tests if you're looking to try to diagnose Graves. But what kinds of antibodies did you test positive for? Or were there other lab tests that that helped you in your journey on your diagnosis?
Yeah, great questions. So yeah, like initially I just got that TSH, T4 because many endocrinologists won't look at a full thyroid, or many medical doctors. The endocrinologist did the antibodies, but many medical doctors won't look at T3. But eventually I got free T3 tested, which was also elevated. And antibody wise, so I had elevated thyroid stimulating immunoglobulins, which are more specific. They're a type of TSH receptor antibody, more specific to Graves. Uh, those, in my situation, those are the only antibodies that were positive. But working with people over the years, thyroid peroxidase or TPO antibodies are common in both Graves and Hashimoto's, more common in Hashimoto's, but a lot of people with Graves have those. But I was negative for those. And then thyroglobulin antibodies, which are more specific for Hashimoto's. Those also were negative in me. But again, a lot of people, I mean, it's not uncommon for people to have all three antibodies. I'd say probably like 20 to 30% of people I work with have all three. But in my situation, it was just the TSI.
So TSI. And so once you had your diagnosis, you were offered a beta blocker, you said, and then did they want to put you on the suppression drugs at all?
The endocrinologist did the medical. At first, when I saw the primary care doctor, he just recommended propranolol, which is a beta blocker, and then, yeah, the endocrinologist recommended methimazole, which I can sit, it's not like I completely dismissed, because again, this was all new to me. I didn't work with Graves patients at the time, but I learned about the herb bugleweed when I went through my continuing education credits or seminars at the time. And yeah, again, I didn't know much about it, but I decided to give it a try. And then I also added the herb motherwort, which is kind of like a natural beta blocker to help with the cardiovascular symptoms. And in my situation, those work wonderfully. But yeah, I was initially offered the anti-thyroid medication.
So just from your own personal desire to not take medicine, you used herbals as an alternative to control some of the symptoms. Is that fair to say?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, and then if we can fast forward a little bit through, beyond just using herbals, did you investigate or look for triggers as to why the Graves was happening in the first place? Like in your case, were there certain things you were eating or certain things you were doing that was driving this autoimmune process with your thyroid?
Yeah, and that actually, I didn't answer you mentioned some other testing that I did, in addition to thyroid. And so adrenal testing is something I did because the stress, I mean, I knew stress was a factor, but I was a little bit in denial. And, that I figured I was doing a good job of managing the stress. I knew stress was an issue, but I'm like, I think I'm okay managing it. But I just decided to do an adrenal saliva test because that was one of the tests I was familiar with. And everything was in the tank. Cortisol was low, DHEA was low, secretory IgA was low. And then looking back, I realized it wasn't just the emotional stressors, but when I was attempting to lose the weight, I was overtraining as well. I wasn't listening to my body. I mean, I wasn't running marathons, but I was at the gym just going all out. Just like when I was done, I was wiped out. And just so I'm sure that also took its toll on the adrenal. So I think in my situation, stress was a big factor from, again, both emotional and the physical stressors. My gut health, I mentioned the secretory IgA was low, which also relates to stress too, but that, as you know, lines the mucosal surfaces of the body, including the GI tract. So I think in my case, the stress, having increased permeability of the gut, potentially were the two main factors in my situation.
Okay, so self-induced, like most men, right? We just push ourselves, whip ourselves like horses until we break.
There
or
you go.
until our
Yep.
wives scream at us enough to go and do something about it.